me catch MPs and say arrangement na ye ne one any speaker say mo beboa na ya survey no wo we no mo constituencies no me srom mo me yenye serious also because ye komu no krampo no na enya hibia encosta hibia wo hwe na say sika kra just wo be mani pa 24 wo beto emo ne anwa mani pa 24 wo medi ni be 3 days no eno abetime esa survey no betime tua survey ne ka tua survey ne ka survey ne betime asam o screening nipa over 500 over 500 ye wie nso ansa na o ma san nya report no ansa na asan establish wellness clinic no e wo constituency no
when nyina ba me etime adi eye agenda eye 3 and 4
3.4
of the SDGs
exactly intina adi a wo de be mani pa 24 momodi anwa any emo for 3 days no e betime screening nipa 500 asama ya survey no na ye report na ba ni assign establish clinic for the next 10 years over 100,000 people could be benefiting into MPCS shremu we dey mu say bo ye pese ye ayimo dey but we dey adia be bo nipa 24 for 3 days ne betima bo nipa over 100,000 for the next 6 years in dey mama mpamo chewa mama ya adwene mra
what the number betu wa bra adwumade ni bana wie but fire see a year normal was say a twin adwen kon
amucho say hwe sa yare na dem ya me come say abrofo wo mo de na before wo mo de na in most cases na abrofo de na etaye yare ankasa wo say ye ne me bi ho yare ankasa sa body no na de ba na ye bibrem ha de na de ye nsu ene ye mban so undidi ntem aduane a ye di no ne sa stress ane mani nyina na before eno wo ye ndie no mu pa nti na ma ye ndie de avoidable more than abrofo de no bibi say diabetes say no oba ebibrem ha na ye pese etu ase a eye enchechire bi ene aduane di no mu ne ade abrofo de most of the times buhunum kuta so mpane keto bi a no mo de wo mo ho wo mo sa insulin ne ade na wo mo say ha na du emergency so asa ne ma ne ti ba mo mu de but
asa pane ne bo den
ne bo nsheda anye isa but then am kan ntanya bibrim ha krampo de abrofo na but ye de ne de ya hweyie ye di die mu ani the time stress no msa ne mane mane de ni na na elisa microphone mi no diabetes and hypertension e ba no nti ye betimi e de hodwuma na no na ye ne MPs ne ye adwuma nse de say ye sa research no ana survey no e wo constituency ma na fi de ye hu nienti a e de ba ye hu nienti e de ba na fi de ye de nchechire no atudwa na so ama wellness clinics and abana wellness clinics and say no need screening for early detection adiba ko mu say screening in tem na so hu in tem a na utimi nyinche kra ma je say ko ba bia the MPs ne boy na say itimi hu nipa na dwenem wo constituency how wo mo ye wo nema bebi wo be ko be say e bia ye pepa ne ozo ezi wo ka say nipa yo hande pa ne kra nkan ye ho we ye nim na say so na say de we kwotena ho ntimi nya adwuma de na epeti sua constituency bia ene ne su ene ne ban se ne bia bi hu how my ne wo be din kita ho ewie na say clinical services so no ko ho na ye hu say amanfo so be de beji atum one thing about clinical services is say we are seeing nyina research here and say so this clinical services ko hospital amanfo nko
osa
obede no akọ onko because I say odware sisi no ho no ko akwetena OPD card no ne sa ne manema but most of the time one more per se outreach one more ye no nyina tu anamo no makọ ana say nipa e ko round ade bia wo ha no maba no maba wanim na maba take samples ne ade no makọ enu sa na manfo pe no we nyina ne ade esi etimi sua because market to marine to market mu say okọ clinic akọ test ade a e be take just 2 minutes no asansan na we kaya you onye sa mate onye sa driver on park and car say me baby but so station ho that's a Red Cross for na wo no Red Cross we ho yes ya on twen say wo mu load ne car no obede obekọ no akọ
na ye dwuma de kase a president Akufo-Addo kra
exactly ojitum
meaning the video now ready a bit metie president Akufo-Addo na fe number o pasa wo di to dwa no what we dia to dwa na dodo na adwan ba so na afi o matimi afro yentie president Akufo-Addo
this concentration on the non-communicable diseases. And I've taken note of the various very important suggestions that you're making on how together we can take the fight against these diseases.
bɛn nipa no ɛna ɔma n'ani gye ho paa sɛ wɔn deɛ because ɔno onim paa sɛ ɛkɔ claim ɔma try that Ghana Health Service ɔma try that na difficult kakra because na say I mean we mate no adwuma na sɛ be free kakra ba moti ma wɔn timi ka sɛ wo kɔ clinic sɛ wo kɔ akɔ test ne adeɛ deɛ ka sɛ yɛpɛ sɛ na ɛbɛn nipa lorry stations asɔre market ne adeɛ no n'ani gye ho paa me kan po sɛ ɔka sɛ nka Bamo de ano a fellow Ghanaians. Okay, fellow Ghanaians we na no ye come time.
Ba ifie be kasa.
Ba ifie be kasa no. Ka se oba mi ensa kra man. Na arrangement ni enyi but promising pass oba mi ensa man. Nti no o na niji ho pa na speaker so. O speaker kra de no man adwene ni bebre so. Ono so man adwene bebre. O John kra no suggest say ye ni MPs no kra ye adwuma e bit mu pa because ni party MPs no mo. Jo kan ne so ye koye ye federal research you say ni speaker kan na no kra. Se ni party MPs no pa esin obi a.
Very well.
Nti en
ebre na nya ye bre fa number no to dwa se de be ya ye betima fra
yo pamocho number na ye de betu dwa ne ye 0249 069 821 0249 069 821 pacho fra Oba febi the voice here the pa kura ni mo no person me bodi ni wa
on na be fa
obefa na on wa kasa kama na se the MPs ni esra mu mamu ye wasting sika onipa 24 so we bribe bit ma waste 100,000 so na whatever benefits obenya o sa publicity na dey ambonya times 10 cross ye kosa adwuma di e beti hospital koso e beti owo so mama for it me productive nyama be brave wo ha e beti me yes.
Very Dr. Auntie, you don't say, and then Obra Winya Mine and pay, and I feel so Red Cross Society for Yamamunina mo where Juma Sono ya. Bugusamo ye de Abogana for
Pacho we the answer me president and then Ghana Cross president and so swimming country so that was pop the way and Rakra Kutai and Nyachi. Now that station so was pop with what we are doing. I mean, say Ubia yes say ya. Jumadi ebe kosopa to say men that was papa any management ni Ubia. Ana record
very well
now for 40 more ene mo beye
yeda say ye beye adwuma nantia bom yeda say Ghana ntina da ne da nyina ye wa ha Ghana bambo say Ghana beye ye say ye betu mpon eno ntina ye ba be di sankomo we abra bedwafo atena say honorable Timothy Awontrem atabwade de nam ne so a me hunu honorable for the first time eno na ne birthday ekwa asariadan happy birthday to you guys. Happy belated birthday, Eko Asariadan, and Rane birthday. Yeah, I met Honorable in 2011, 2012. Now me show be a very situation room. Our Pravda. Also representing this morning from the NDC, I Ora Richard Niai, a member of the NDC communications team. Oman Atenase no no aye be share yen koma twetwe no ase ba me ka say Nokia Android phone who pay bi ato phone shop bi abebo awuram bi ahonsa be ka bi ato and after so let's talk educational consult fa ba no call no nya ntete papa wate we suku wura so beto call no age futu ebeboa ama suku na ya kono ehwema cha call Tachinungwa Estate Mango Street from 0249 069 821 health alert about your from kuro yade a year sexually transmitted infections with your Bowra Health Alert Clinic. No more sawi yadie. Shomachakon Medina Kaswa Pokwase, a shaman and a sinfosu from 0242 518893 and a 0242 518865. Health Alert Danny Daniel Yakon Heba. And if it's a little George Health Shop, Upper 3P Gallic Michata, Bowra Ho. Kowa Mitchell Pebiata, Bowra Ho, Dominion Heba Pada, who Pebiata, Bowra Little George, Health Shop, and food supplements in Rahudwa. We here said about your boy at your bongaratano, Bowra Health Alert, a year, Little George, a year health shopper, Sabecabiato. From 0243 140 213, Omada, a year PV of being runabout, and a project we are short down in term, Waterma Community 5. Mammy comfort near my woodie and pay your dances so dear chi grandma sissy was honorable batch and mom why. Honorable Timothy, I went to them at about your 80th anniversary since 2011.
Since 2011.
Yeah, I mean, said you city as I heard you. Bibi answers, Why be say ya? People be a cow. Say ya. A quan and run with the birthday.
Wow.
I was all friend. I come you. Na bibia boko de ache
bibia boko de nyame asese wa
yeah
amaya pomudi amaya be hia no ye hia achefa
ye hia achefa me de me ho aba
intino I say a dash for us
that's right
mutie
that's right
the Ghana for you know mutie this big
yeah
and I tell the truth always stand when we come I'll say it as it is
interesting
no romance in it for the people to be able to make an informed decision
absolutely honorable Bida says sounds that ni ayizo ezo ni akwaba
no
ti wo reshimu say insurance company no be through for Ghana and I feel suppose for so dan na di say oni akona ka ne ye ne dia no o match no o ma mo ne di honorable asem ba hu ni say
yo Kwame Sama is CNRA. So I was trying to see how the checks were done before they were doing the test run.
Yeah.
So over your railway, and now you be now so your test run. You must clear the road first before you start doing because you know you were this part of the world such a way that people do not take rail and other issues are accidents, you know. Where in town city say car coins, you know. So there's much more caution on the road than the rail because of the fact that rail is not intense. So its development it is not as deep as even air transport is much more deeper than rail as we have now. No? So there should have been a movement. There are some in advanced country, it will be like head clear the road for the main one to pass. That is how it is done. And if they are taking that precaution earlier and to clear it and to go round, they would have seen that there was an obstacle. I had to say their car now be that so they be on back clear. But if at the first day of test run, this is the accident, then it leaves much to be desired, and we have to be very cautious because the cost involved and the soul sourcing and other things involved in some of these things is huge. So for the first day of testing to go, no, it can send shivers down the spine of would-be a man for encompass use rail as a means of safer transport and so on and so forth. So I feel that the Ministry of Railway should take responsibility, and in other areas he would have resigned. The minister would have resigned straight ahead, no business at all. That shows how responsible you are to the sentiments of the public and public responsibility. And political accountability. But in this case, Minister Baba explained, no, he's still a King Kong, he's still a chairman going through, and so on, no one can touch him, especially in this government. A man for a year near my chance, I'm punky, so more resigning, and they should be penalized. But if you raise them from a status of non-cabinet to cabinet minister position, so we are the bono of government, if you are corrupt, they give you a bigger position. If you mismanage our resources, no matter a bigger one. Go and mismanage more. They even allow you to go and contest primaries and so on because you are a thief, and then you are allowed to go and contest and continue your thievery. In fact, that is what we have seen in this government and so on. If not, there are some people who do not even qualify to contest. After you have seen their background, knowing very well that people like Eugene has been alleged by the watch to have built 32 flats in less than 2 years and other luxury things. Yeah, he qualified to contest as an MP. How? Where has it happened in the world that you come into government within short time you couldn't buy filing paper, filing for no intimate transfer na maba. Mobile na fe the $1 na we distribute free na we yes anemo. Into government we the we born na fe no mo page out the cost and yes mo pan so it pays to corrupt yourself in this government. It pays to do wrong. It pays to misgovern. Because you are awarded for misgovernance and for corruption and other thievery matters concern the state.
Honorable Amewuba Facebook so because I mean or drawn for you say yeah only a corner what they can go see a coin in Vivino or mining nana kuma so patriotism and then the home corner. Those are the words I will use here. Does it not showcase or beer the near bresa or person ɔdɔ asɛm ni mu esukɔ na ɔpɛ oni akɔna wɔyɛ behind it.
See, the MPP should stop insulting us when there's an issue. I may count one of your stations say they are not the only people who went to school. No one external class, no your class, no one defense, na ye last so. Binumpo ye defense, no one defie. I mean, we should stop telling us in the background on dok. Obi a one dokro, obi a one done. Accident is a people cry no. What is a police for no so much no. Whatever it is, I think that the accident could have been avoided. If caution was taken, you don't start the rails when you don't clear the railroad. There must be an advanced team to clear.
No, but then again, a whole car coin.
Yes,
I want baby a car. A car coin.
Yes. Yes. No, you even put anything as but you yourself, as a rail, you must clear the road. Look, on your flight in Ponombe, why is it the flights are not crashing mid-air? Because there's time to take off and time to land and time to pass. So if you don't do that, it will crash. One was and also no say car now. Look, my issue is that it's a fault that the Minister for Transport must take because Anke Kosmuta, Anke they would have been taking the credit. Is that not it?
Okay.
So if it is wrong is done, you don't give blame. You blame yourself for not doing the proper thing. It's clear. You are in charge. If say a bus Anke you see ye boa baswa, and no Anke Obabeji. So why you say Ghana for say you have to accept, don't insult people. They don't like me. Who in the history of this country has caused more atrocities and damage to the people, including people who are dying at the dialysis center, including drugs that has been brought from Global Fund at that Port Hanamo over millions of dollars. For me, for HIV, for tuberculosis, for malaria, because they couldn't pay for the shipping and so on. Our Global Fund, I say, look, they are going to, they are not going to supply us until we do things. And you know, at the current of man, yes, I say, the amount of money involved, because you know, Global, you pay, right? If it is 100, 100 is 100, which means 5 yen to so. Ankaya dia ankombe beto so ankombe didi ankombe because Sputnik V, which was coronavirus, COVID-19
vaccine,
the vaccine the transportation cost numpono the cost of what? The drug. That is what has happened. So they are more dangerous. Like the mother serpent of corruption himself, is more dangerous than any other fellow. The president, the president is more dangerous than any lethal weapon in the world. Now, as we talk this morning, 8.4 million people cannot get 1 meal of food to eat. Or say 8.4 million people cannot get 1 meal to eat a day. Yes, in a day. Who is more wicked than the than this government because of bad policies? Who is more wicked to this country when you have run the country to a junk? And DDEP, Marco farm for investment. Then 1.3 people have lost their investment, including pensioners. Who is more wicked if your policies can send 850,000 people into poverty? Who is more wicked if the World Health Organization says that by your bad policies, 2.4 million people have gotten mental challenges? Who is more wicked?
Very well.
So the wickedness of this government, even Satan is yet to study their ways, the way they've been so smart more than Satan. Satan power to home power so no some crowd. They are more skillful than Satan himself. Crooks saying Satan kaza. The Satan boy say MPP for lead their mind today. No, they visited wickedness on the people of this country than any other government across the globe.
Richard, also idea you want to say, and now the pay say, you be a phone line, so more free. As I yen ye ni send for you pocrampo, and you no crack. Wabra, minister, any a year apostle for, and the others in the ababonte and pampa be also. I'm for reading meanings in the home quarterback. Will you for them?
Madam Wasipa, you woman say, enra be 5:30 and I menya news no say
I will see 12:10 p.m.
Nti enumere na mete news no say train no kra ye testing no nkwanhia asi kra ma enimu no kra atete apansama adwuribu ade na ye kana za no nyeze bi ye light bia wo ade enimu nyina atete apansama
minister say light
je wa say nyama say swamp ni nyama nyina abobbo
minister say engine ankam engine
enra enye me nwanwa say minister no o kan sa isan say enra metie no one of the media houses now mo interview no about the train na dia bagana na so mfa so die most of the questions I busa no nyina wantime ya no e bi classical example railway line eda nsawam di ko kotoku nyina ya te say mo ya ho a lot of say na de no kra manfo twitwa de ton ne busa no say de no no as sector minister no wo ye de afasa na ma no wo say o mai do betima ye bia de aka no ma jama police fo nti o ma jai o ma ye do betima ye nti ma me hu say I say wonye serious person unim say no dey see ye no anka yo wu a na nye test na mo rane na anka nipa bebre aye train mu ma anka no anka see Kenya kra anka by now as a result of negligence by a certain sector minister, someone who is in power and authority to manage this thing very well no anka sa amre amamfo yire no na omumba ewu kwa anka de beti ane say oh ya momo ya akọ na ya to nsuo any bottle water na de drinks na de akoma abusuafo na ache buso eno ano no mowu ase kwa enso anka sa sector minister we aye Peter Amewu was said is it the minion kan no anka by now no anka se wa resign ama onipa kwa we in chief or in charge or dispatch train say anka on starting on back on the journey no or say kono so by now ya fire no because yenye serious if you say nipa kwa no all power na na so in charge wo honom no aban bi a certain government in power and what they no ashe hunti no ye pam na ya ye nipa ye pam nfa kwhye nfa na anka ye kono na say na amben say ye the train aba ye test train now make sure say bibia ye okay. What is the first thing before say train be move no and then I was say won check it unim so say train say enya any single crash crowd kwan so a e na impact no e very dicey enti no say mu make sure say mu be clear one so nyina na mo ye no free na afi no the only risks can say machine ankasa back on the journey no and also it is fit for the road. Oh, they didn't do all this because they were in a haste. No more pentem or more jintempe. E de aba be jinsembo e Ghana for and then Yankopon so expose you because also ba betuka efifia also make sure say bibia ye okay. Where ye catch say ka bi na akwako si won na akrasha ma plane no ISR e bi kwa for all you know no na plane cry is not fit for a purpose. And no metima go for nim do metima ye and no ma say that ade no asay no mudi ka bi akwako si won ye say
then na who say asay we
I'm telling you on authority say I mean we are trying to picture what's happening.
It's who interpretation no
me interpretation is say ade no crown it is not fit for the purpose. It is not fit for the road and you already say come went back but as a result of some more pentem na Ghana for aboensema momo and MPP for me was real well liar and that way crown and you be credit to Jomama ni nsa no adwuma ye mu ba mbehwe na mo peti hu na mo ye ne mo na mo gye ntempede aba
it wouldn't need say a Hyundai truck with registration number GS 901820 bia wonyini se na bibi se si wo se o hwe kwanim
me o hwe picture no pa critically a
picture no mo de kire se
kire no o hwe honoma enye baby a car cross on the railway line enye baby a car cross nti se enye baby a car cross e ba na se kra na sa Hyundai no
picture we na kan
picture we na me kan wan se mo hwe unka kwan be pa na wo honoma e kire wo se car no e cross on that particular junction nti me hu ni se ade no utimu se ade no crash ye ye engine so big drigu e wo training e no mu se da bi ade we de ye to be dadi entintempa ne ye peka bi ne mfa ko si kwan mfimfin na ye Ghana fo e hu se bi a ka bi kra na akwase na ama ade no
no mo ntime yie from asa na mo ye
you mean da ben na car no ko si ho na de ben no mahu
na me nua ne car no and I also saying that you should have cleared the road
when you dive into the matter critically you see say we no ade oma machine oma machine na ade oma ankasa oma instigate oma ye plan scheme and oma ye no ade no train no it is not fit for purpose oma try
when your man for be adwin says post for statement we no wa bro mo ball card number no say on the drama no na say de ye ka wura no edi ntu dwa
sabe pepe na nko
we say no ko so mo di tudwa
ai na nka car no
na boa be na nka be boa
anka be boa me hu say asem ne no kre say enye train no na enye na emu no car no na bi a wa ko park de esi ho e na me busa say e ho no mu nya ba bi a car kwan da nti ba na say kwa na ehofo omu di crane machine e na lift is car no de ko si mfimfi ho ana oh nkofo we no enemo mutimi ye organa ha say no edoso pa che say oma ye nema bebre ama Ghana fokra omuni omumu gidie enti na enyina we asi ye kana sa enti ye de kakra meka de afa ho ne say the sector minister Peter Mewu the member of parliament for Hohoi on resign with immediate effect say wa Ghana fokra boka say wa anhwe ama aduma no ankoso ye ama train na akwa sell kwan so ene o insurance for bebam insurance no yembusa question back o omo ba be replace train na maya na say omo ba be repair train na mayen on say car say na say uber repair and I say car say na replace ma wa two different thing the moment a car no benya this kind of damage see and I say train we benya this kind of damage how be car say we maintain no we be maintain be we no entimi ba enya back to the current state e wo enti ye be sere omo ama we should resign the road the railway director in charge ono so resign one resign president no fire omo but enim say na do na kwaku ado de ono de omu di nyama hunu say no no kwa no o say mo post nti
interesting Richard yenko enim na fe yenko ensemfo froso ene yenko man ba bi egina pa eye yenyinam kaniansa wo yede kania no mudu no matter brofo ba yusu e dia kata so bia kania ne yeduma na yaso eye otumfo say tuaba bi o wo de wo suggest say every grid kokosi wanwani ye function grand His Excellency Nanado Dango Akufo-Addo so a many plant here with trouble your mama say eye chrono de no mo bo mine chrono no and oba ba mu eno no akukuru ya wode akosi asante mama say ya to the dey foforo we nyina ne ba be di ko bransa na no on keteke de no Felix Dela hwe ye tie wo say please which media house Kwame would you mean so kind of cre which media house was there at the time of the testing for coverage? Because I know it is always done with media coverage. It is when Timankas more media house be a Kwame. And no never man many a man for more frey ever conclude say I deal with ye stage here. Where the truck was parked did not show any vehicle path to the railway line. Where Felix Dela message on the buy. But back to media house I covered here, but there are pictures a filter through a yenya bia ye dia chechemo and pay a be ned that a me page in a home crowd it'll be yenya ye de chechemo. But honorable on the issue of a Mary yenyinam kania won some your 2 4 suggestion sanse mo epemo saying
you Kwame some nice rare answer because we had a generation problem in our energy sector for over a time period from the Rollins system and Kufuor time, a day bar and a bar NDC. We had an experienced and an innovative leader, Okase, and no and a course doom so, but Obe fix it doom so no. No krene ampano, he fixed them so and got us enough generating capacity in this country that would take us to wherever we want to take, and even say export some, and we are exporting some and earning foreign currency. Finished. The foreign currency comes at the time your local currency is as useless as anything you can get. So the foreign currency comes to add up to your reserves. Who doesn't want that in the world?
Be happy.
So papa is fear now. Now the rent, now we just can that's what new home pass. So better papa say.
Okay.
We've allowed Nana Dango Akufo-Addo our turning the energy sector into looting, into stealing, into thievery, and they've almost collapsed the energy sector. And the disrespect, the chronic disrespect they have for the people of this country is to look in their eye and insult them. Look, how did it happen? Yeba free by mu ye de tax by a friend Esla. The Esla was to take care of every energy sector. Your friend is saying accumulated a debt na yenya for over the years.
That's right.
So that you be clear, then we have a clean slate, clean paper. One was so the Esla was supposed to be for some years, I think 5 years. And then we will draw it.
Yeah, 5 years.
5 years. Crawford catcher said it was a nuisance tax, and because it was a nuisance, year from they've extended it beyond 20 years and it's going to 30 years. And Sika year through is over 30 billion Ghana cedis. That could clear. They've chopped the money and used them for zero generation. They've not added one plant to it. So the crime the NDC and the John Dramani Mama did was that Oma Boa Magane free Dunsomu Abba in a light situation with reserve generation capacity to even export and to earn dollars. Look, we share they exported to other countries now. They like our export because our supply to them is stable, reliable than Nigeria. Them be so. Marco yes look, I married deal no. I've been saying this since yesterday, and the Yan was the young man they call Kojo
Poko
Nsafwa
Kojo Nsafwa.
Why are they man? He wrote a letter.
Yeah,
he wrote and telling the whole world that NDC Abekase had no more renaming the what do you call it? The Mary a KT1 in Kumasi. We shouldn't do that because we use a Mary as a middleman. And you say Mary and cost no better form. Inti Mary had 160 million as profit. Yes, I know. And that Mary was using a fake website, and they only changed it to what do you call it? A good place 2 months before.
Yeah.
Since when has middleman in international transaction become a crime? And now you gold for oil, there's a middleman. We don't pay our gold straight to the oil producer. Would they die? Well, that's also dear, because you are the one who is the chairman of the Baumia Energy Committee.
Yeah. And
you are giving the manifesto. And if a young man at his age can do that, I've not even come to the $800 million. Now, we are now. Our members of parliament were critical in the court. Look, since when to use a middleman for international transactions? Are you wrong? Say wrong. I don't know who use gold for oil. No, there's a middleman. Why did you repeat the mistakes of the former regime and do it even more? How did you do that? Is it tell the people the truth? You see, politics are brilliant and nice guys like this. They fall into the Baumia lies. Ma catch some of the young people that Momun Shian Baumia Trona or Channel. Mushiana Dache, almost ever from Truffle crowd, I will chrome and no one will believe that. They should not learn from Baumia's lies, and they are doing that. Fast forward. I'm buy no money the American so. Almost sorry, almost called Dubai or 20 member committee from Ghana to Dubai.
Yeah.
First class ticket, business ticket. I'm going to champagne on some buyer. I'm going to come on to no. I'm going to $800 million. And the car on the Ghana for seeing Tia. Now I'm first can check and didi.
It's a renegotiation.
The negotiation.
And come free over 500 million.
Yes.
And they call 800 million.
Yes. So what the Shema is over $1.3 billion. Because by that time I'm going to 540 million. It was built, operate and transfer. Do you understand? By the next 5 years, and we are not going to $1 per no the machine. Am I? Monko farm Gubai. A question, Guy Bochida, it is the president was misinformed. Sana your childako and no creative problem. You saw what the Ajako Kai. So you do this and you turn around. You mismanage the energy sector to the current stage we are. Share the PDS. The problem of the PDS was that it was corruption. The Millennium Compact tune was supposed to give us $500 million. Said the private investor and so the $500 million, now $1 billion, so that we work at the distribution problem, and then get our distribution correct, and I see can say asanje. Ye no kosie. Shares to do that. Shares impona on becheno. Baba bi or a baba or the apaso chatino. Our East Legon. Hono muko cho muti, hono muko yom baba. Nto mukwa nso mutini esakora. Edun kun stras from muti and mutima yamude. Then they sit there and they distribute the shares. That is for the people of this country. A 20 billion national asset. You sit in a barber shop and share and distribute the shares. And when you did that, and the US for no corruption, and they withdrew. They even withdrew $198 million. Withdraw it.
Yeah.
So we lost money. PDS and Kwanji 1.5 million. PDSG and size can I pump PDF as one fast can about matches Kennedy. Today, so Papa, your friend is saying, or Henry Kase, two for say. We should. The question is, is the Otumfuo not aware that the PDS was in the hands of a private fellow? He's aware. But Nyansa Sam any Beno catch Romono. Yes. So that suggestion by the Otumfuo saying that we should let the private sector participate. The Otumfuo knew what he was saying. It was a wise man saying he knew because Otumfuo is aware what went through the PDS. Because if you are going to put that sector into the private man's hands, what is government business in taking part and sharing the shares among friends and family? Is that how private people work?
Are you by this suggestion? Otumfuo
I think that we can handle it. It's just mismanagement. I don't go into that because any national asset be an order share. Would the share is for a period to correct an issue and to come back. You don't release like private hands.
But we can handle any doomsday.
No. That's why I made my doomsday ban. It was a creation of this guy because they cannot buy gas, they cannot buy fuel. The OIPP 1.5 million. That's private sector too, but that private sector is solely private, augmenting government generation. So that one is absolute government. A friend is saying IPP, no one's that. But the Otumfuo Kano is the participation of the private sector in the ECG and other state generation. It's a Greek and Netco. But you have to remember that time they call out, ECG made profit. Do you know that ECG made profit when we're handing over to these people? Greco made profit when we hand over to them. Netco also made profit when we're handing over. And then institutions are a profit under NDC are now bankrupt. And they cannot buy fuel to feed the machines to give us doom. Once the doom son start here, no more start here, no more you doom son krona outside the villages, so that they thought that by that they'll be able to maintain the light in the cities. But they forgot that the whole of the north, we use about 300 megawatts, between 300 and 350 megawatts they're using. But you were sharing over 500 and 600 megawatts. So, once I did Papa be a John Dramani, Mama, some don't say, but no, the Omuti Bonnie Bamwa. Not me. I bet Jeff from some said a million come by the railway, Nikahono. Then you now start under John Dramani, Mama. I better than crash with a phantom or a ghost truck on the road because you fail to give acknowledgement to where it is due. Shamere na mudidi papaya temsa mudi konumpono. You want to rename it. How many assets of national character, national legacies does your friend is saying? This current president, your friend is saying, Nanadu wants to rename. It means almost a well-rehearsed agenda. Before they came to power, they had a well-rehearsed agenda, and that agenda was initially to ensure that the Dunkot tradition gets their share in the independence of this country. So they started by changing the national, your friend say, independence. They changing Sikana and Kruma, Din Dasonia, no more changing, up to the point they came and said that Ghana is not funded by one field, it's funded by a group of people and so on. In order to bring the over 50 years in Pomo, JB Dankwa a year. Can you imagine? They couldn't do
it. My
point is
agenda
that, yes, on my agenda, and said they want to own Ghana. And by owning Ghana, they cannot own forever. No. They are only left with 8 years now. So I'm naming some big monuments. After what Akufo-Addo no person Olivia. We say he's one of the worst governors more than any other.
K1 year Akufo-Addo say Ebonsa.
I mean, why you come will live in that, but we change it. Okay, said Nansa Okoye Tamale airport. Uncle naming new name at that place. Kumasa Uncle naming is it something. Yeah. He wants to name this so the history will say that one on another Danko Akufo-Addo by no year say Juma wins one she.
Honorable.
Do you get the point? The point is that he wants to leave a legacy that he hasn't worked for. He wants to leave a legacy that he hasn't created. At the end of the day, dear Akufo-Addo from her after taking over 1 trillion Ghana cedis from the people of this country, 411 billion in tax alone. Dear no dear year. He wants to rename and turn around projects that your mama yen. The projects in from archaeology to zoology. It was started by your mama. They've not taken one project from foundation level. How am I completed?
Material Kamesa Banchain wa Browd one who sema Chato Eba Sana Jumeduno Abanaria. Me bound channel. Now another question so it was here beside and say Ameria ye de call Kumasi ya opportunity for from. Kumasi na ye de kono boni be ne wom
meda wasi the American say NDC as a political party any problem say ode Ameri power abeko Kumasi na watu din K1 na say Kumasi power plants and I say what's any problem but say ade no wakasa ho wagwade ne ho fi sa tamajomama the visionary leader who say Ghana you face energy sector problem. Until let me take the bold step and solve it once and for all. And now Mahama Ekofa Ameri power deal we buy. Omo ye who did this Ghana for crowd say Ameri for cry akronfo. He said the America contract no I say omo beji Ghana for sike bia kwa akodi. Na Ameri no home a very special power plant. The mechanic say special because one say power producers no omo produce power na say omo de ba Greeko for beteki no mo e de ama ECG for distribution. Now at times no when you are distributing the power no ultimately lose some of the power megawatts no and I say in a kilovolt na e wo mu no. In terms of in situations like that no say unya bibi to say Ameri power where you can move it to a location say if there is any loss of transmission in terms of megawatt, and no bet to me I hold because I know it's producing, it's generating the power at that physical location instantly. Instead of Echo Kumasi just to augment the loss of transmissions and then Ama Kumasi 24 su say Omunyama say Ama Nekra what to say KJTR Central Market Crampono they are solely relying on generator. Say electricity or you come. Sanyama we nyina na mama hu se da bi mama mfa Mary mra na power situations are ye face by then no ye mfa mra ne embe solve what dia ba magu ade no fin sa mobile no the first ade agu MPP ni mase pa Mary power enti the first sector minister Akufo-Addo team ye bold e pam na kwam no because akwa no ma seven president Akufo-Addo ni 2 daddy say wa bokro no esan say okọ sign sa contract no e ma ne hu e ma ehun say and that's Akufo-Addo. What's the so sourcing? The question so sourcing na. I didn't kwa mo pese mo extending for contract. I didn't so mo gu fi say ye buy be twam. Na fe mo buy so ade yi mo antwam mo extending contract. Contract na mo extending so per Procurement Act no mo anye open tendering bia mo bia ho hwe. Mo na mo sit here for renegotiation of any whatsoever thing it is. The sector minister Oseka on spearheaded this kind of negotiation, you know. Mo kwa city for the negotiation, na mo yini chanchan. Ba mfa na nkubi. Na ka ade we kra ka Ghana. Ye obabi kra sanka president Oseka resign. Anka finance minister Oseka ba na nso kwa resign. Kiachino. And then the vice president, who is the head of the economic management team, say mo manage power sector issues. Ameria mo mu feel say negotiations and koyi under NDCO anka with $510 million no, and then Ghana is owing Ameri Power. Akufo-Addo enya the gas say what the akokumase rename no K1 e de koji samba e Kumase for Ashanti region e de apɛ vote e Ashanti region. And the NDC as a party ni de anka de we kini hu problem but I don't know go hu fin but okwakoye no so no anka ma ho kratasem officially VRF Omuma Ghana for who say Ameri Power aya John Dramani Mahama the visionary leader who ya the bag Ghana no ye move the free takrade near the Abakumase na ye the Bakumase a ye be mani din foforo ni afre no K1 anka Ghana for the NDC for keni hu problem pia esan say tema most of the independent power producers are John Dramani Mahama including AXA Energy my former working place. Omodi ba Ghana no today you don't see AXA Energy but you see Tema I think T1 or T2. Yeah. John Dramani Mahama but ene u trace a wan sha ebe catch us enye John Dramani Mahama kwa na di ba ye because ya sesa di no enti na Akufo-Addo is in a haste to change the name from Ameri Power to K1 na Ashanti region for abom nsem de ayeden e de amom e ho asem baako a me eye say the cost involved in transporting Ameri Power
$38 million.
$38 million.
Yeah. It was 771 and a chill.
Yes.
$1 million.
Yes.
$71 million.
It was $71 million. Sourcing contract.
Okay.
Approved, yes, approved by Public Procurement Authority. They be American as a procurement professional. They be American say this Public Procurement Authority no almost corruption cost of Ghana has said too much because a strategic
so the question is why are they doing it under this government?
Yes, and you know because anka a strategic energy sector issue like Ameri Power yeah the Kokumase and a threshold that involved about $38 million more no source sourcing
$10 million.
Ma energy sector or be a stakeholder be a interest to bid. Nya on chess aguma make my discourse. Ena asepa for a year who the esep for a year who the can once a man. Ena amu edema VR4 because initially no amu my say VR4 doesn't have the men.
Na say information you can no more peruka. Na ki pese e charge omo. Enti say omo first camera.
Betima ye adwuma. Ana mo de cost 71. It means 35 betima ye
adwuma no. Na even the 38 no crampo no e sududu.
But even let's put it that 71.
What I say? It is just too much. Na ka NDC 4 time. And I transporting Ameri Power. And they free takrade na dia Kumase at a cost of $38 million. Me assure say ka bana man for Ghana say.
Enti no too for kasepa no twa no. Yam privatize bibia.
Asema o too for kan me ne nya adwuma ne. Ene ne nya adwuma chena. Em say no
ase ne nya adwene.
Me ne nya adwene. Me ne no enye adwene. I mean bear with him on that issue. Esan say 3 days ago he had a meeting with Ashanti Kotoko management team. Emma Oka say waboka over 5 million Ghana cedis mismanagement koso e wa Ashanti Kotoko. Enti no anka ebeya team no enya ade a obejai team no say or the share private member binsa amana manage Ashanti Kotoko team no because of we say the investment here den ewom enti so the man private person be a so what we manage any mfasodie ba ni pa kon be fa all the profit enti mi busa o anka yemfa ne say by the same measure no Asante Kotoko eyotumfo dia Asante Kotoko omabo 7 matches omo winning match ba kokora otumfo fili say omaboka enti no team no nya de odebetimi dia share individual person bi ansa enti ono we manage na de enti sa Asante Kotoko ye Ghana anko beka se yemfa Ghana ye companies in the energy sector no yemfa share individual ansa na wo MPP fo no omade suban bi adi am ye hu say see ye de private institutions that what Ghana has said they will own almost everything and tomorrow you and I will become beggars. Almost started with the PDS related issue. The MPP wanted to take ownership of the whole energy sector so that they'll be collecting the revenues at the expense of Ghanaians. Sika Koma PDS for EGG up to now. For scanning ma ECG for back. Apart from that, Uti Japa Japan almost say omanya some special purpose vehicle ko establish a company in a tax haven country na omo dey collect your Ghana your minerals the ultimate mentality ne say anka Ghana say Abraham people for every abemu akọ opposition no yes on your resource ewo ye dia no anka Akufo-Addo ni na busuafo oforiata those kind of so-called achi mafias, they will continue to make us from our national resource. But I don't know unim say currently, Ghana, airport, Ghana National Airport, including the airport Terminal 3, Terminal 2, currently, I'm party affiliate. Magdan. Namda me can't Magdan say. Me can't Magdan say. You should be very careful. Say Ghana no. It doesn't belong to the MPP people alone. It deals we are keeping an eye on him. Now we are also pleading with John Dramani Mahama, the president to be elect 2020 December 2024 way. Yeah, elected now. Often an money because these people have some of strategic government institutions are generating revenue at the moment on party affiliates. So NDC should be very cautious when they come to power. They should go and trace all those things and abrogate those contracts, even if we have to pay judgment debt to collect these sales institutions back from these MPP affiliates and give it back to Ghanaians.
Magdan must be very careful. He has to be very careful because we're not going to treat him with kid gloves when we come to power. We'll trace him like my brother has said. And if there's anyone or two or Casa Magdane and Dam for Bekatana and Katashi, Ghana for so be any beer or a dance on was salt no hormona or yes and Yamano. We are going to invest.
Thank you, baby. That's a also Beberman or Beberman say, Yabrananya, Yabrani. Every kenika gigi ya didn't know about a year at least for Nawaji I ever see so ya badi ababu ye pa our power 97.9 and a face TV and so I said baby I will be and come on to us power near what the power mid money bremo na ya mensa ka ye ready Adeya mi yapa o ye Raf aya fidie no na mi blame na na said ye wa won number ye 0245 841 dot one saka 2000 Ghana cedis e mo so ye be hia me dia ne Kwame Minkah bye bye.